simplicity does not have to be boring, and I mean that particularly when it comes to food. So what I want to do today is, one, show you 3 ways that you can make food that is simple to make, but elevated in terms of flavor. So very, very simple, but very, very tasty, far from boring food. I also kind of want to take you on a journey to one of my favorite places in the city. It's called Kalustyan's, and it is a magical land of seasonings and spices. So we're going to go there, we're going to talk about how simplicity really leads to success, and then show you how to implement that with actionable steps and basically 3 recipes that you can take to the kitchen today and really make something delicious with simplicity. So let's dive in. Something I talk about over and over again with the people that I coach is that simple usually leads to successful. So what we want to do in general is simplify things with our training, our nutrition, anything fitness related. We want to simplify it as much as we can. So like with training, maybe you'll see people at the gym doing something that looks really complex and technical. And while that may look cool and like go great on Instagram and things like that, it's not necessarily more effective just because it's more complex. What most people will benefit from is, rather than doing that single leg Bosu ball, hold your breath while you do a squat thing, is just a simple squat to ingrain the movement pattern, to progress within the movement pattern and actually get better at squatting, rather than this completely non-functional functional exercise, which you often see. And yeah, it looks cool, but that doesn't necessarily make it better. Usually, simplicity wins. Same goes for nutrition as well. Oftentimes we are creatures of habit and we eat the same 5 to 10 things, day after day, month after month. But when I talk with people about simplifying their foods and simplifying their nutrition for the sake of their goals, oftentimes I'm met with the same concern. And that is the misconception that simple food means boring food. My response when someone is concerned about simplifying their food life to the point that they're eating boring, bland, tastes like cardboard food is that variety is the spice of life, and seasonings and spices are the variety of our food life. And there is a wide world of seasonings, spices, flavors that we can build within that really won't have a huge impact, calorically speaking, macronutrient speaking, with any of the food we're having. So for very low caloric cost, we can make something that's very, very delicious. And that's not that hard to do, even while maintaining a relatively simple preparation, simple technique, simple dish, meal, nutrition approach. As a food lover, I have no desire to eat boring food ever, and I would never suggest that you do either. So what I want to do today is show you 3 different ways, recipes, simple things that you can apply right now, that you can take into the kitchen tonight, should you feel so inclined, and really make happen. One is a citrus finishing salt, which is, I think, like my secret weapon of sorts. Anytime I'm making something and I want it to be a little extra fancy, I would want to use a flake salt or a finishing salt. But one thing to take that up another notch is to make a homemade citrus finishing salt and then go full salt bay over the top of whatever it is I'm serving. Suddenly it's elevated, suddenly it's got texture, it's got more flavor, it's more savory, it's more delicious, and it legitimately takes like minutes to make, lasts for a really long time, and you can put it on anything and everything. I also want to cover a really, really bold dry rub that I love using. Usually I put it on pork. I feel like pork basically holds up against any seasoning, spices, flavors you throw at it. But I usually put it on pork tenderloin. I've done it on beef tenderloin. I've done it on steaks. I've done it on chicken. I've done it on all sorts of things. Pork tenderloin's just one of my favorite. So we're gonna go over that. It's a simple rub, 3 ingredients, 2 of them being salt and pepper. So that's really, really quick, really simple. And then we're gonna do a single ingredient marinade for chicken that, again, super simple, super flavorful, super delicious. In order to kind of like give you a glimpse, take the blinders off, and show you what that world is really like, we're gonna go to a place called Kalustyan's here in New York City. It is a magical land of flavor. It's got pretty much anything you could ever dream up or think of when it comes to seasonings, spices, So I'm gonna show you some of the stuff that's there. I'm gonna get some stuff for myself, some stuff to play around for some alcohol-free mixology, some stuff to play around just cooking at home, and then I'm gonna get the ingredients for the 3 recipes that I'm gonna be showing you that'll help you simplify food, simplify cooking, simplify the process of the kitchen, but still create delicious, nutritious food that is far from boring. I am back from Kalustyan's. There's been a wardrobe change. I've got my ingredients out, kind of like the mise en place for the salt, the dry rub, and the marinade that we talked about. But I also just kind of want to talk a bit about Kalustyan's. Obviously, you've seen a bit. It's a really cool place. I mean, you can find just about anything you could ever want at Kalustyan's.
I need a tea to give a dingle less tingle.
Tea for dong.
Some of the kind of more unique things that I snagged while I was there, a yerba mate that's roasted. I enjoy mate in the morning, but a roasted version is a relatively new adventure, so I'm excited for that. I got powdered acids, so we got like balsamic vinegar powder, we got citric acid, malic acid. So citric acid, think like lemons. Malic is actually kind of like what's in an apple. A mix of citric and malic will, I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but the mix of the two of those will be kind of like a lime. On top of that, I've got all the ingredients for the recipes I'm going to show you. We got the Maldon salt. It comes in smoked as well, so I just kind of wanted to demonstrate that. We've got smoked Maldon salt, which I'm not gonna use, so I can just put that away. Maldon flake salt, it's delicious. It's really delicate. It's obviously salt, but there's something magical about it. And then we're gonna make citrus salt out of that. So we've got lime, lemon, orange that we're gonna zest. Ingredients for the dry rub here, just 3 ingredients, super simple, goes great with pork. And then I snagged a hot sauce I've never tried before, but basically any vinegar-based hot sauce will do. I've done things like Frank's, like buffalo hot sauce, anything where vinegar is the main ingredient. I saw this and couldn't say no to it. It's a Scotch bonnet and ginger hot sauce. It's something somewhat local. It's from here in New York City. Queen Majesty, a brand I've never heard of. It sounds delicious. So I'm gonna use this as my marinade, but legitimately any vinegar-based hot sauce will get the job done. So that's all you really need, vinegar-based hot sauce. And yeah, I'm gonna kind of clear my workstation and we'll get started. That looked so ridiculous before, it was like up. I don't know how I didn't notice that, but whatever. First off, we are going to start with the citrus salt. So simply just getting a bowl. You'll want any mix of citrus. So I've got an orange, I've got a lemon, I've got a lime. I kind of like doing a mix of all 3 because why not, right? So I've got one of each. You can do just lemon, you can do just lime. You can really mix and match any citrus you want to do because really all it's going to be is the zest, and that's going to impart flavor to the salt itself. Now, Maldon flake salt is what is known as a finishing salt. So it's going to be something, you could use it in a recipe, sure, but it's gonna be particularly magical when it's sprinkled over the top of something to finish it off, give it that last little bit of seasoning, and then by taking citrus and adding that zest to the salt, it's going to elevate an already elevated salt just to another level, and it allows you to finish your dishes in a way that is kind of more restaurant-like. And it, as you'll see here in a second, it takes just a couple seconds to make. We're gonna go ahead and open the Malden. It's brand new. And then, so we're just gonna pour some into this bowl. It's really cool. Hopefully the camera can see. But it's got this almost pyramid-like shape. They're flakes. If you've never had it, go ahead and just, it's like a little bit of bite. It's a delicate salt. It's beautiful. So we're putting a little bit of that in the bowl. And then what we're gonna do is just get a microplane if you've got it, and you're gonna get each bit of citrus and give it a good zest. Now the key to zesting, you don't wanna get too deep. The more white you get in there, the more bitter it will become. You just want just a little bit of that outside to impart flavor and zest and not a ton of bitter. So we got the lime, we got the lemon. Set those aside. And then the orange. Perfect. And kind of hit that off. And honestly, just stir it around a bit. You've got this beautiful salt that now, I mean, just, yeah, stick your nose in that, smell it. It's citrus and salty. You put that over the top of anything, like let's say you just finished off roasting a pork tenderloin. You slice those medallions, you set them up on your plate, season with the citrus salt. You can go like full Salt Bay with it, and it's legitimately delicious. It elevates things to another level, and it's already done. Minutes. So really simple. Orange, lemon, lime. Smells, tastes like citrus, powerful flavoring, great seasoning, and a really simple way to elevate your dishes to a level that is downright impressive. Oftentimes when I write recipes, you'll see finish with citrus salt as one of the final steps, because I put this on just about anything and everything that I want to add a little extra oomph to. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and do that dry rub. Really, really simple, just 3 ingredients. It's salt, pepper, and then the one that I don't think I've mentioned yet, the one that I've kept secret is actually chili powder. Really, really simple, but really, really flavorful. It's a little spicy, so a substitution if you're not a fan of spicy food, hi mom, is doing paprika, especially a smoked paprika. It can be really, really delicious. It imparts a lot of the same flavor, but doesn't have the spice, which certain people, like my mother, tend to avoid rather than lean into. All you're gonna need to do is essentially do equal portions of each. So I'm just gonna use a simple spoon. So as long as it's about the same for each one, it's gonna get you in the right spot. So I'm just gonna do 2 spoonfuls of pepper, 2 spoonfuls of salt, and then 2 spoonfuls of the chili powder. Then it's really as simple as mixing those up. They're roughly even portions, you don't have to measure it. I literally never do. But what this does is it creates what will be used as a dry rub. So speaking of pork tenderloin, like the finishing salt would be tasty over the top of pork tenderloin, steak, whatever. This is a super versatile dry rub. You can put it on the pork tenderloin before you cook it. It's gonna get a nice crust on the outside. It's gonna be a little spicy. It's gonna be pretty dang bold, and I think it's delicious. A couple of optional adds for this dry rub. You can add coffee or cacao to this to kind of give it another little bit of interesting flavor going on, but it really is delicious simply with the salt, pepper, chili powder. Tastes great on just about anything I've put it on. I've put it on tofu, I've put it on pork, I've put it on chicken, I've put it on beef. Tastes great on all sorts of things, and is, again, super simple to make, but not boring. And last up, we've got this stupid simple chicken marinade. So I've already got 2 chicken thighs. I like thighs over breasts, I guess. 2 chicken thighs just in a Ziploc bag. You can do it in a plastic container. This is just what I had available right now. And then I've got my vinegar-based hot sauce that I'm now going to embarrass myself trying to open on camera. Should have thought that through. I haven't had this before. It looked interesting. It looked delicious. It looked new. Again, Tabasco would work. I've done Frank's Red Hot. Basically anything. So to kind of dive into that deeper, the first ingredient on this hot sauce, yes, it's a Scotch bonnet and ginger hot sauce, but the first ingredient is white vinegar. So make sure it's a vinegar-based hot sauce. That smells delicious. Ooh, tastes good too. It's hotter than I expected, which is exciting for me, not so much for my mom. Anyway, circling back, vinegar is great because it imparts flavor, and when it comes to a marinade, it's especially great because it's going to actually kind of speed up the marination process, which means rather than having to soak this for a day and a half before you can cook it, you can get away with something on the shorter end of marination time. I still like at least a few hours, but you can kind of go shorter on the marination time and still get a really, really great final product. And it's really as simple as adding your hot sauce to the bag or the container in which you have your chicken. So you want to make sure you use enough to cover completely. So you'll pour it in. Making sure you put enough. Then you're gonna seal it, but before you close it all the way, get all the excess air out that you can. Then you're gonna mix it around, massage it, make it, I don't know, make it happy, make it appreciate it. And then you're just gonna let that marinate in the fridge. Give it a few minutes, give it a few hours, maybe flip it, maybe mix it around. If it's in a container, shake it up a bit, give it some time to marinate, and then you can either grill it or roast it in the oven. Both would be fantastic techniques. And then if you're feeling it at the end of it all, finish it off with some flake salt. Again, all 3 of these recipes are really quite simple. As you saw, it takes a couple seconds to throw them together. Take advantage of them, run with them. Tell me if you do something interesting, play with these. They can take your food to another level and certainly keep your food from ever feeling or tasting boring. And there you have it. 3 recipes that prove simple does not have to be boring. And this all matters simply because simple usually leads to successful. And that is the case with fitness, training, nutrition. It's also the case with habit change and behavior change. The simpler you make the process on yourself, the better it will go. So focus on doing that, be that with your training, or use these recipes. Use the citrus salt, use the dry rub, use the marinade to simplify your nutrition and really leverage those so that you can be successful. And lastly, no YouTube video is quite complete without mentioning subscribing. So consider subscribing. This channel is going to be used for a lot more videos like these. If you've watched through all of this, I mean, 1, thank you, but 2, clearly you either like me or like what I'm talking about enough to stay tuned for an entire video, and that means a lot to me. So please subscribe, or at least consider subscribing, so that you can catch the next one, or share it with a friend that you know loves food and would also like to be fit, because that's really what this channel is all about, helping food lovers be fit.